Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk about some more fusion bonsais in a sort of root over rock technique. I've got a few here that I've been working on and one that I'm about to put together. I'm going to be using willow, which this particular willow is a golden form of white willow, and it roots really easily in water. I'd say I have something like a 98-99% success rate. Similarly, if you just put it into some soil, any soil particularly, it's not particularly fussy, but any soil that stays wet, you get something like a 90% success rate. So I've been out today taking the dog for a walk as usual, and picked up a couple of rocks which I quite liked, but I think I'm going to use this one, which is almost don't know what sort of rock it is, but it's white and veined and similar to marble, maybe a piece of marble. I have no idea, I'm not a geologist. And I'm going to use this dark pot, which I think the two together will look contrasting, and then with the sort of yellowy orange stems of the willow, I think will also look nice. Now there are a couple of ways I've tried doing this, but I think one of the easiest is to just put the rock slightly into the bonsai soil, which is what I'm using. Doesn't need to go down very deep, and then you can take your cuttings, and what I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to push them in under the rock at a diagonal, and I'm actually just going to leave it like that. So once it's actually rooted, I'll be able to bend that up and over and attach the trees together, wire the trees together to achieve some sort of fusion. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute, because I want to show you what I'm heading for. Here's one I did earlier, as they say, using exactly the same technique. This has been in a bucket of water up to the top of the rock here for about 10 days now. As you can see, I've just pushed the cuttings in. They all have rooted, and some of them are rooted into the water, so I'm starting to get some roots actually in the water. Now what I'm hoping is these will run down and eventually go down into the soil, and then at some point in the future I can decide which ones I want to keep, which ones I don't. Once it comes out of the water, obviously some of these will die back, some will live. The ones that make it down to the soil first will be kind of like aerial roots, and then I'll be able to pull all these together and aim for some fusion in the next couple of years. So I'm not even trying to get these to fuse at the moment. This is all about getting rooting and getting them into place. Don't know how well that's shown up, but I've got them, some of them are crossing. So we have multiple roots. As you can see this side, they're all starting to throw out roots, and some are coming down the side of the rock, so that's good. So that will go back in its bucket of water. So back to this one, just trying to choose the sort of planes of the rock. Again, this has got a slight curve that way, so I'm going to push it in at a sort of diagonal under the rock. The other tree I showed you, I didn't do this, I just pushed them straight down, and I have quite big gaps between the trunk and the rock, so I'm hoping that once these are rooted they will actually be able to be more easily forced against the side of the rock with less gap. So one under each plane. Come on, in you go. That one doesn't want to go in. There. And one more makes 5. We'll put that in an ice cream tub of water to slightly above the level of the rock. Again, hoping for some aerial roots, water roots, aerial roots, and how you describe them. That's what I'm aiming for with this particular fusion project. Okay, set that aside, and this is again the same willow. It's probably said this before, it's all came from the same tree originally, all these cuttings. This was done in a slightly different way, and is possibly a way that you could do it with trees that don't take cuttings so regularly or so easily. Could be done with some seedlings. What I actually did was, this was cuttings, and I think I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9 small pieces of willow. I put them together in a bundle and wired them at the base, about 1 centimetre up from the base. I put them in a glass of water with 1 inch of water in the bottom, that's 2.5 centimetres, and waited till they rooted, and then essentially I just opened the group up, put a rock in the middle and closed the group of trees around the root with a simple twist of wire. Again, this was done probably 8 weeks ago. It's been in water up to here, and I've had a lot of aerial roots. I keep calling them aerial roots. I suppose they're not technically aerial roots as they're in the water on this side of the tree, which I think will look nicer than the dead straight pieces. Not entirely happy. This side would like to get more rooting, so this will go back in the water, hopefully get more rooting on this side as well. And then, as a way of doing it with trees that aren't easily struck from cuttings, I had a lot of ash seedlings, year-old ash seedlings, and what I actually did was made this little contraption, or something similar. I put 1 each of the trees through a washer. The washer and trees went under the rock, like so, bringing the trees then able to be pulled up over the top and wired in place. So that's a way it could be done, or can be done, with trees that are already rooted, or perhaps species that don't take from cuttings very readily. So that's a little ash. This I did at the same time as the root over rock beach that I'm trying, and I'm definitely getting some fusion. The trees are growing into each other. Eventually this will fatten up enough to really grip onto this rock, and the wires underneath will stop these from moving, allowing it to grip quicker, I hope. So there we go, just some root over rock fusion ideas for people to mull over, take from them what they want, ignore what they don't like. Anyway, thanks for taking the time to watch. Thank you.